It's time for a parable. You have a group of people that committed a crime. They murdered two men. They unleashed their wrath on those men. They unleashed their frustration. They stabbed them and knocked them out. So afterwards, they buried the bodies in the dirt. Over time, grass grew over the place where they buried the bodies. So years passed by. All those people that were involved in the murder, they continued with life because they had the security that it was over. And based on this security, they formed new relationships, they got new jobs. So everything was happening for them. Then one day, one of those individuals becomes terrified because he sees one of the guys they killed 8 years ago. And he thinks, well, a minute, this is not possible. We killed that guy. So he calls some of the other accomplices, but the other accomplices didn't want to talk about it because they moved on. One of them even said, I have a family now, things are going well at the job, I have no interest in talking about this. But what happened, soon, on television, a new book was promoted, and this book was written by a guy called James. And when they showed this James was, all the people that were part of the murder became terrified because this James was one of the individuals they killed. And everywhere throughout the country, everyone was an accomplice in the murder was terrified because they thought, hold on a minute, how come this guy is alive and well? And soon afterwards, there was this police investigator, this detective that came to the houses of those accomplices. They had to answer questions about their whereabouts at the time of the murder. One of the suspects who was really involved said to the detective, "Sir, are you sure a crime was committed?" The detective looked at him weird. And why do you ask that? The detective asked. Well, if there's no body, then how can you be certain that a crime had been committed? Then the detective asked him, how do you know that there was no body? There, the detective knew that his trick worked. Now, over the course of several days, everyone that was involved in those murders were terrified. They were not aware of what was going on. They became haunted. And I'm saying like this. When the people around them noticed they were terrified, they came up with excuses. But eventually, the smell of the murder came to the light and they had to confess everything to the environment. So now, everyone they were involved with, all their relationships, their marriages, their spouses, their children, their colleagues, their so-called new friends, all those people were part of their cover-up. So all those people realized now they were being used as a cover-up. So all those people now were involved in the crime they've committed. Those people either could remain quiet and become a part of the crime, or they could speak out. But speaking out would imply that their whole lives would be turned around. And a lot of negative attention from the media would come upon them. So, all those that were involved in the murder, including their new associates and the new social circles, were all in deep trouble due to the murder they've committed. Now, that was the parable, okay? Those people that committed the crime thought it's over, we can move on. There's not going to be any consequences anymore. They were wrong. Now, I know that's a parable, okay? But just think about it. When folks agree negative upon you, their intention is that the weight will fall on you, something bad will happen to you, and they can move on, they can be at ease. But what if you overcome? whether because someone prayed on your behalf or whether you agreed with Christ and you overcame, doesn't matter. What if you not only survive, but you overcome? Now you're walking around alive and well. And not only are you walking around alive and well, you overcoming does not cancel out what happened in history. If you would have died, or you would have turned a drug addict, or you would have perished very quickly, people could have easily written it off. But now they can't write it off. So now all the accomplices in the dumping of negative energy towards you are terrified. Because anytime, anywhere, their whole bubble will burst. And they have no control when it will happen. And then, when it happens, they will have to explain it to those around them. And what if those around them become terrified and take it out on them? What I'm saying here is that it was a very dumb decision of your antagonist to energize negative energy towards you. It was a very dumb decision of theirs to target you. Because, well, now the repercussions are coming. They can't escape them. And here's the thing. It's not going to affect them, but everyone they have around them. Okay? And that is why common people are terrified of those that walk by faith. Because with pagans, at least, you can have some relief. You can have some bailout. But with believers, you can't. And concerning me, I tend to notice this. People that agreed negative upon me, let me tell you, I don't encounter them that much, but when I do, they are terrified. Because they know anytime, anywhere their bubble will burst and everything that's there onto them will collapse. Now, am I haunting them? No. They're haunted by their own negative agreements. Nobody told them to agree negatively, and nobody told them to hold on to the negative. They did. And you know what? That's good news. Because the only reason this world can continue like this is because the world has a provision of sanctioned victims upon whom the world's population can unload their negative energies. Without these sanctioned victims, the world cannot function. Because without these sanctioned victims, the bad energy will haunt and kill those that hold on to them. In order for the world to continue as it is, worldly people need to dump their waste somewhere. If they can't dump their waste, that waste will haunt them and will affect all their human relationships. It will affect the economy, it will affect the environment. And when it leads to explosions of rage, really atrocious things will happen. So worldly people in general have no interest in real peace because real peace is fatal unto them. In real peace, they can't dump their waste on anyone. In real peace, the only out is to become born again, agree with Christ, and for faith, relief seeking. But that's something worldly people don't want to do. And that's why believers are such a menace unto them, because, well, you can't get away with dumping waste around believers. Well, that's it for now. Agree with Christ and be at peace.